Good evening, study partners. Tonight's lesson will be chapter Yuma, chapter 2. Tonight's class is dedicated in loving memory of my dear mother, Rivka Bas Rab Shloimeh, Zechreina Levracha. Chapter 2 moves away a little bit from the Yom Kippur service, the Yom Kippur service specifically, because at the end of last week's chapter, chapter 1 in Yuma, we talked about the removing of the ashes, and so we're going to digress for this chapter and discuss various procedures of how things worked in the Beis HaMikdash in general. Mishnah 1. Bereshena originally called Mishareitz Litrem es HaMizbeach Terem. Originally, whichever Kohen wanted to remove the ashes from the altar, he was able to do it. Uvizman Shehim Merubin, and when there was a lot of Kohanim around, so Rotzen V'Oilin Makeves, so they would run, as soon as the doors were open, they would run towards the Mizbeach. V'Oilin Makeves, and they would rush up the ramp. And whoever proceeded and won the race by 4 amas, approximately 6 feet, then he was the winner and he got to do it.
Didn't somebody break their leg?
Right here. Now, what happens if there were 2 people who were shava? What does shava mean? They were equal, meaning to say that the first one did not win the second one by at least 6 feet. The person in charge would tell them, stick out your hands. Imagine this, 1, 2, 3, shoot! That we do today, and that we did when we were kids. So this originated in the Beis HaMikdash, or at least it was done back then. What would they stick out? Achas or shtayim, 1 finger or 2 fingers. The ein moitzin agudol b'mikdash, and they were not allowed to use a thumb as one of the 2. You couldn't go 2 because a thumb goes in and out quickly, and we're concerned for cheating. So you only had to do 1 or 1.
Yeah, but so then, what was the purpose of that? So then it was odds.
Oh, whoever won the shootout.
Odds or even?
Yeah, I guess you would go. 1, 3. One of them would do odds or evens, or they would pick a number and you start here and wherever it ends.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Odds and evens. I'm not sure. That's a good question. But anyway, 1, 2, 3, shoot, and whoever wins, that's the person who wins. Okay, and once again, no thumbs
allowed.
No thumbs allowed.
No thumbs up.
It was 2 people that were very quick, and they were ahead of the line, and everybody dashed, and they both charged up the Mizbeach. One of them pushed the other one in the process, and the other one fell and broke his foot. Once the Bezdin realized that this is a dangerous process of just allowing it for races, they said that no one would be able to remove the ashes from the Mizbeach. No one would have this merit except by a way of lottery. And so the lottery system was instituted. There were 4 lotteries. And this was the first lottery that was held, was who was going to do the Trumas Hadesh and who was going to clear off the Mizbeach. Hapayas Hasheni, the second lottery, was for Mi Shoichet, who is going to slaughter, Mi Zoyrek, who is going to receive and sprinkle the blood, Mi Medashin Mizbeach Apnimi, who is going to... No, we're in Yuma, Perek base.
Your text the Shkalim, those were last week. Yuma. Okay, never mind.
Yuma chapter 2. Hapayas Hashem Mi Sheichet Mi Zerek. The second lottery was who was going to slaughter the animal. Mi Zerek, which includes who was going to receive the blood and then sprinkle it. Mi Medashin Mizbeach Apnimi, who was going to clear out the inner altar, which was used for Ketores. There was never sacrifices, never Meat was never on the golden mizbeach, the mizbeach hazav. Only incense and then sprinkles on that was used for spritzing on Yom Kippur. But the incense that was put there every day had to be cleared out. Who would clear out the menorah and light it? Who would bring up all of the limbs to the ramp of the mizbeach? Harish, haregel, the head, the hind right foot, shtei hayadayim, the two hands, ha'ukatz, v'haregel, the tail and the left hind leg, hachaza, the breast, v'hagera, the neck, u'shtei hatfonis, the two sides, v'akravayim, and the intestines, v'aseiles, this is referring to the flour offerings that were brought, v'chafitin, and the special chavitin meal offerings, v'hayoyin, and the wine libations. So all of these things, shleisha aser kohanim zachu b'y. 13 kohanim would win this. Now, again, we all said that this was the second lottery. So how does 13 people win one lottery? So it's explained that there was a whole big circle of the kohanim, and they would pick out a number. They would pick out a number from, I guess, a box, and whatever number that was, let's say it was 52, they would start counting. When he got to 52, that Kohen and the rest after him, he was the first of this order.
And 53, 54,
54, 50, all of the next ones would get these merits in order. Okay? Amr ben Azai lefnei Rabbi Akiva, Mishum Rabbi Yeshua. Ben Azai said before Rabbi Akiva, in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, Derech Hiluchei HaYakarev. This order that you just described in the first part of the Mishnah is not the correct order of who would get these lottery winnings. Rather, it started with the head. Yes, everybody agrees it started with the head. But then, the way the behemoth walks, the way the animal walks, so that's how it was split up. So head first, and then, which means the last person is going to get the tail and the left hind leg. So basically, the order of the animal as it exists, head first, all the way going back to the tail. Hapayas Ashlishi, the third lottery, Chadoshim Lakteris. This was reserved only for people who had never burned the incense on the Mizbeach. This is a very special privilege, and we want to let as many Kohanim as possible have the opportunity to do this at least once. And so therefore, only Chadoshim, only people who have never done it before. Bo v'fisu. So now they would make an announcement. Chadoshim Lakteres, whoever is new to Ketores, come and draw your lots. Baravi. And the fourth one, Chadoshim im Yishonim. This was for people whether they were new to the process or not. Mi mala evorim min hakeves v'la mizbeach. Who is going to bring the limbs up from the ramp? The first in the first lottery we had all of these people, not all of them, many of these people who were bringing the limbs. Where were they bringing it to? Not onto the mizbeach proper, but rather on the ramp to the mizbeach. If you remember, I believe it was in the last Perek we spoke about the quadrants of the mizbeach and where we put everything. Rosh Chodesh we put a little higher. So in any case, but in all of these situations, they ended up on the ramp, not on the mizbeach on the fire. Now we're going to need a new team of people to take it from there and onto the Mizbeach. Now, I'm just going to explain briefly why this is the case. Why don't we just say the people who won the lottery the first time, who brought it there, let the same people bring it up. In fact, there's nothing that prevents one person from doing the whole thing, from doing both deeds. So there's a concept that is as follows: Berev Am Hadras Melech. A king is enhanced. A king's dignity and presence and majesty is enhanced by multitudes of people. So when the king comes and there's lots of people coming to see him, so it creates a certain splendor for the king. The more people that are coming to do, what are we doing? We're bringing karbonos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The more people we can get into the process, the more impressive it is, and the more splendor it is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So now, we're going to get into some numbers here. of exactly how many Kohanim were necessary for what process. Tomit Korav Beitisha, the daily sacrifice. We had daily sacrifices, one in the morning, and Tomit Shel Shachris, Tomit Shel Ben Arbayim. These are 2 daily lamb offerings. So these were brought with 9 Kohanim. Sometimes Ba'asara. Sometimes they were brought with 10 Kohanim. Ba'achad sometimes with 11. B'shnei Masar, and sometimes with 12. Lo pochos v'lo yoser. Never less than 9, never more than 12. So now we're going to go through the different scenarios of when the Talmud was brought with 9, when with 10, when with 11, when with 12. So, Atzmai, if it was a regular day, regular Tuesday, so how many are we going to need? Mordechai. 9, there you go. Good guess. It's a regular day. We don't need it. There's nothing special. There's nothing additional. So, we only need 9. Bechag. Now, in addition to these 9, on a festival, not on a festival, but on the festival. Which festival are we talking about?
Sukkot.
Festival of Sukkot, because we're talking about the Nisuch HaMayim, as we'll explain in a moment. B'chag, on Sukkot, b'yad echad slichas shel mayim. So in addition to this 10th, in addition to this 9 that we have on a regular day, you have somebody who needs to bring the lug of water. Harei kanasara. Bein arbayim.
So that's 2 nisachim. It's one of wine and one of water.
Well, the water was the. We'll get it for 1 second. How we break up the 9, we already spoke about. Yes, there's 2 nisachim, but the first one is in the first 9.
So
here we have an extra. Here we have an extra nisuch of water.
So it's on top of that.
On top of that, that's correct. Harei kanasara. Now, bein arbayim. What about in the afternoon on Sukkot? So you have be'achadasar. I'm sorry, not on a chag. Regular afternoon. Bein arbayim. Be'achadasar hu atzmi b'tisha and ushnayim biyadam shnei gizrei eitzim. So in addition to the 9 that we had in the morning, we have also 2 gizrei eitzim, 2 logs of wood also had to be added to the fire in the afternoon. So you have 9 plus 2 is 11. And Uba Shabbos, what about on Shabbos? B'chadasar, we have 11. Hu atzmi b'tisha, it itself is with 9, as we explained in the beginning. Shnayim biyadam, shnei bozichel avoyna shalechem aponim. 2 of the 2 people had 2 spoons, of frankincense that were offered as part of the lechem aponim procedure, and then only once they offered this, now we can eat the breads. And so, and Ubashabbos Shabbos Chag, and if we're in a situation where Chalamoid Sukkos or Sukkos is on Shabbos, which is obviously the case, so we had regular Shabbos is 11, and because it's Sukkos, we have an extra flask of water. So therefore, 11 plus 1 is 12. So there we have all the different types of from 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Ayil, a ram, was offered b'chadasar with 11 people. Habasa b'chamisha, the meat of the ram was offered with 5 people. Hakrovayim, the intestines, Asilas and the flour, Va'yayin, and the wine, B'shnayim Shnayim, 2 for each of these. So 5 for the meat, plus 2 times 3 is 11. So once again, let's read the Mishnah now, again quickly. Ayil kodev b'chadasar, a ram with 11. How so? 5 for the meat, and then there's 2 for intestines, 2 for the flour offering, 2 for the wine. Total of 11. Par, what about an ox? An ox is not so small. An ox is very big. It's going to require money more.
Is it an ox or a bull?
An ox, a bull. It's
same thing?
Same thing.
Be'esrim arba. 24. Haresh v'haregel, haresh bechad v'haregel b'shnayim. It's heavy.
A massive head.
That's correct.
Here it says
V'haregel
24,
and
said
the
never-
hind leg. What?
Here it said bar 24, and before they said never more than 12 or less than.
That's for the tumid.
That's
Only the tumid. A tumid is a lamb. It's small. Here's an ox. Esra'ah is 24.
This is part of an Ayla offering.
This is
Because you bring a ram for the other one, no? A ram or a sheep?
This is for the Musafim that we have on certain holidays.
Yeah, but so what I'm basically saying, the ram is a specific special offering, right? It's not a regular daily. It's not part of the regular offering.
No.
It's a special one.
Yep. Haresh v'haregel. Haresh bechad v'haregel b'shnayim. So just the foot, two people. Ha'uketz v'haregel, the tail and the other leg. Ha'uketz b'shnayim v'haregel b'shnayim. The tail with two, the foot with two. Ha'chazav ha'agera. And now next we move on to the breast and the neck. Ha'chazav ba'echad, the neck with, the breast with one. Ha'agera b'shleisha, and the neck with, and the,
Three.
with three. Shtei yadayim b'shnayim, each of the two hands with two people each.
Two front legs.
I'm sorry, the two front legs is referred to as yadayim, is like the hands. Shtei dofones b'shnayim, the two sides with two, each carrying one side. Hakaravayim ha'soiles, the intestines, the soiles, the fine flour, v'hayayin, and the wine libations, b'shleisha shleisha, with three each. When was all of this said, that we have these specific numbers of Kohanim carrying up all of these pieces? The Karbonis Tzibur. This is all in a public offering, a communal offering. Aval b'Karban Yachid, but in a private offering. If one wishes to do all of these steps by himself, and his brethren, the Kohanim, are not objecting, let's say it's a very busy time, for whatever reason, it's a busy time, and so there's lots for everybody to do. So if no one minds, he can, on private offerings, one person can do the entire process. If sheiton v'nituchon shel elu ve'elu shavin, the laws of flaying and cutting up the pieces have the same laws. Both have the same laws. And what are those laws? The law is that even a zar, a non-Kohen, can
do it?
Perform this function. I think we're going to move forward. We'll see if we can finish the next Perek. We're moving on to Perek Gimmel. Omer lahem hamamuna. The person in charge would say to them, go out and see. If the time for slaughtering has arrived. If it has arrived, barkai. But loud, barkai! What's barkai? Barkai means it's like a borak. We see they would go up high.
The
little
crust,
arch of the sun
crust.
coming up. You see this sometimes when you're on a plane. You could see far in the distance. You can see just a sliver. So that's what they're looking for. Matisya ben Shmuel Eimer. Matisya ben Shmuel said that they didn't say Barkai. Barkai is not the only thing here. Heyer pnei kol ha-mizrach ache b'chevron. They would ask,
The entire eastern.
did the whole east light up yet? Ad Chevron till Chevron? And he would answer, yes it did. Why did we need it? Why can't we just say Barkai? Why can't we just say, like, as soon as they see a sliver of the sun, why can't they start slaughtering? Because one time, they went up by the light of the moon, and it seemed to them, they saw this little light, he already got ahead of himself, and he screamed out, Barkai, and V'shachtu was hatamid. They slaughtered the carbon tamid. V'yitzil lebeis hasreifa. But it was too early. The sun had not yet come up. So, being that this little sliver can be confused with moonlight, so they waited a little bit further after that until everything is lit up until Chevron, and this is the next part. And they had to take it to the Beis HaSreifa. Let's move further. We move further in the process here. They would escort the Kohen Gadol down to the mikvah. There was a general rule in the Mikdash. Come on up. Anybody who had a bowel movement required immersion in the mikvah. We're talking about Kohanim here. Anyone who urinated would have to wash his hands and feet from the kir. The kir was a special laver in the Beis HaMikdash. General rule, no one can enter into the temple courtyard even if he knows he's pure. Until he goes to the mikvah.
Chapter 3 in Yuma.
Chomesh Tfilis. 5 times did the Kohen Gadol immerse in the mikvah, and 10 times he would wash his hands and feet on Yom Kippur. All of these washings and mikvah goings, Kodesh were done in the holy part, al beis haparva, on top of the parva chamber, chutz mezoi bilvad, except for this first one that we just said, that they would bring him down to the Beis HaTfilah. All except for this one, everything else was done atop the Beis HaParva. You with me? Peres usadin shel butz beinoi levein ha'am. So now here is on top of the Beis HaParva. So what, he's going to get naked in front of everybody? So the Mishnah tells us exactly how they did it. They would spread a big linen sheet between him and the people so that he can get undressed in private. Poshat, Poshat, he would get undressed. Yorad v'tavel, he would immerse himself. Ola, b'nistapuk, he would come out of the mikvah and dry himself. Eviu levigdei zahav, they would bring him the golden vestments of a Kohen Gadol. V'lavash, and he would wear them. The kiddush yodav v'raglav, and he would then, again, after he got dressed, he would wash his hands and feet from the laver. Eviu le'esatamid, they would bring him the carbon tamid. Krotzai, he would make the incision in the neck. Umedak achar shchita, and somebody else would finish up the slaughter. And now why did he only do a part of it? Is because on Yom Kippur he has to do the whole service. He has to do the whole service. So he now he has to slaughter and receive the blood. So he just makes an incision, and then the rest of the slice is done by somebody else, and he will catch the blood.
But according to laws of shechita, aren't you supposed to do it in one fell swoop? You can't stop in the middle because then it can cause tsar for the animal? No. He
makes the incision and the other person goes across. So, can't argue with the Mishnah here.
No, I'm just saying.
And
maybe they made a special ruling. I don't know.
Umerek acha shchita. Somebody else would finish. He would receive the blood and he would sprinkle it. Unlike what we spoke about earlier in the previous Perek, that any Kohen would be able to sprinkle if he won the lottery. There was no lotteries for this on Yom Kippur. It was only going to be performed by the Kohen Gadol. Nichnas lahaktir kteris shachar, he would enter into the Beis HaMikdash to burn the incense of the morning, and to prepare the menorah, and to offer the head and the limbs, and the chavitin offering and the wine libations. So again, all of this is being done by whom? By the Kohen Gadol alone, unlike the procedure in the previous chapter. The morning incense was offered every day between the sprinkling of the blood and the offering of the limbs. Shalbin Arbayim, and the incense of the evening, Ben Evarim Lanesachim, between the offering of the limbs and the wine libations. Now, now we're going back to the discussion of him going to the mikveh. So if he was an old man, or if he was an istnis is delicate people.
Cannot hold heat.
He's a delicate man, frail, if you will. So now going into this water, it's freezing cold. And so what would they do? So before Yom Kippur, they would heat up these rods, very, very hot, metal, and then right before the Kohen Gadol would go into the mikveh, they would stick him in. So we would reduce the chill, so he's not going into an absolutely freezing cold mikveh. Has anybody ever been to the Arizal's mikveh? It's a natural mikveh. It's freezing. Freezing. In any case, it's interesting that because the Kohen Gadol would have to dip in the mikveh 5 times on Yom Kippur in the Beis Hamikdash, so because of this, he was pasal edus for Kiddush HaChodesh, because he could be thinking, I don't want to go. He wants to try to manipulate the year so that it becomes an Iber Yar, so which means, or that it shouldn't be an Iber Yar, so that means that Yom Kippur ends up closer to the summertime. Mm-hmm. So because of these calculations that he may or may not make, we don't take evidence from him, testimony regarding whether the moon was seen or not. It's unbelievable how careful we have to be that a person shouldn't be biased in his testimony. Very fascinating. And this was so why they put in these hot rods in order to remove the chill. They brought him to the parva chamber, which was in part of the holy area. They would put up a curtain between him and the people. I'm sorry, before when I said they put the curtain before, that was talking about in the mikveh. That was the first tefillah. Here we're getting to the second tefillah. Again, they would put up this curtain. Kiddush Yadav Raglav. He would wash his hands and feet. Ufashat, then he would get undressed. Rabbi Meir says it was the other way. Pashat, first he would get undressed. Kiddush Yadav Raglav, then he would wash his hands and feet. And then we would continue further the process. Yorad V'Toivel, he would immerse in the mikveh. Olav in his stapok, he would get up and get dressed, get dried off. They would bring him the white vestments, lavash, he would get dressed, and now again wash his hands and feet. It's a furious pace they got going there. In the morning, he would wear pelusin, which is fancy linen garments, shel shnei masar mana, worth 12 mana. Uvein, this is expensive stuff. Uvein arbayim, and in the evening, shel shneim asar hanidvin shel shmoina meos zuz, Indian linen. So in the morning it was Pelusian, and in the evening it was even fancier. They would have Indian shel shmoina meos zuz, worth 800 zuz. Divrei Rabbi Meir. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. They say they said it was worth not 12 but 18. And in the evening it was 12 mana. Hakol shleisha mana, all 30 mana worth. These amounts of money came from the public treasury. We dressed them in very, very beautiful linen. Very expensive linen.
If he was a rich man, would he be able to do it?
But if he wants to add on more, he would add on more. Now again, I remind you, we already spoken last week.
He was a rich man.
These were usually very wealthy people.
Did he have to take the money from the public?
Yes, the earlier parts, the tzibur paid for it. And that's because he's their representative. If he wants to get even fancier, he wants to show that he has money, wants to show off a little bit, so he can. I shouldn't say that. It's Yom Kippur, and he's doing it.
White garment.
It's Hadras Melech.
Yeah.
It's
Hiddur mitzvah.
Hiddur mitzvah. So you can add on even more. Ches.
What are you adding on? It's a plain little garment.
What?
Getting a fancier garment.
When you go to one store and you buy a linen shirt,
Or for
and you go
your
to
bed.
another store, you buy a linen shirt. Why is one $10? One was $50. It's different linens. There's Egyptian linen, there's the Indian linen, there's Persian linen, there's different. Depending on where you go, what you buy. So if you wanted to get even fancier, you would get even fancier. If he then comes to his ox. The ox was standing between the antechamber and the altar. Its head to the south. Its head to the south and its face to the west. So south and west. Turn to the west. And the kohen would stand in the east, in front of the Ma'ariv, facing the west. And he would put his hands on top. He would put his two hands on top of the ox, and he would perform the vidui ritual. In this we have in Yom Kippur, we all recognize it. Ono Hashem, please God, Avisi poshati chatasi lefanecha. I've acted wickedly, I've rebelled, I've sinned before you. Ani uvesi, not just me, but me and my household. Ono Hashem, I beg of you, God, kaperno lavinis, please forgive the wicked acts, the lapshoim and the rebellions, alachatoim and the sins, shavisi v'shapashati, shechatos lefanecha ani uvesi, that we have acted wickedly, rebelled and sinned before you. Like it says in the Torah of Moshe, your servant, because on this very day, God will forgive you. And all those who were there would answer, Baruch Shem Kevoid Malchusei Le'elam Voed. Blessed is the name and the glory of his kingship forever and ever. They then come to the eastern part of the courtyard. Let's find Mizbeach north of the altar. Haskan Miminoi, the deputy Kohen Gadol to his right. Reish Beis of Mismele, and the head of the household of his family to the left. B'sham Shnei Seirim, and there were two he-goats. The Kalpi Haisa, and there was a box, Sham. Uvo Shnei Geiroles, and within them there were two lots, two Geiroles. Shal Esh Geroya Hayo, it was made of boxwood originally. Ason Ben Gamla Shal Zav, but Ben Gamla donated and made one of gold, so that even the box, which we use on Yom Kippur to make a lottery, even that should be made of gold. And they remembered him for good. They would praise him because in the Beis HaMikdash there is no such thing as too much opulence. We do not say, oh, it's too fancy. Nothing's too fancy. Even the bowl that they would give the animals to drink before they were slaughtered so that it would be easier to skin them. This is not part of the service. It just makes things easier to skin them. Was made out of gold. So they praised him for this. Now, we're going to take a turn here of who got praised and who didn't get praised for what they did. Ben Kotten, Asa Shnei Maser Dad Lakir. The kir originally had only two spouts. There was only two spouts, so only two Kohanim could wash their hands and feet at the same time. Ben Kotten made a contraption that now allowed 12 Kohanim, speeded up the process sixfold. Afu Asam Muchni Lakir, he also made a laver system, a pulley system. The water cannot stay in the kir overnight, because anything that remained in a hegdish, in a kodesh vessel overnight, is no longer fit for the next day. So he created a system in which the water was stored in a non-kodesh vessel, and then they would somehow be moved quickly and easily into the kodesh vessel, which was the kir itself. And so there would never be extra water sitting in there at night that would become disqualified. Munbaz HaMelech, Munbaz the king, all the vessels of Yom Kippur, he made their handles of gold. Hilni Imai, his mother Hilni was a very rich queen. She made a golden candelabra on the over the entrance of the Heichel. She also made a golden tablet in which the parsha that was used in the Sota ceremony would be written upon. And again, all of this is just using extravagance in the Beis HaMikdash. There's nothing that requires you to write it on any type of surface. But it's the Beis HaMikdash, everything is done beautifully. Nikoner, Nasu Nisim Ledal Seisov. There was a special miracle that took place with his doors. And they would remember him for a blessing. What was the story? Nikoner, he was on a ship. He went to the Gemara tells the story.
Alexandria.
To get these huge doors of copper. And they put him on a boat, on a big ship. And the ship went into a storm. And they wanted to lighten the load of the boat. So they threw one of them off. And this Nikoner, he was so upset about it that he tied himself to the other door, saying, if you want to throw the other door, you're going to have to throw me off. So they let him. Now, once he did that, the storm stopped. But he was very, very upset because now they only have one door and they need two gates, two doors. So what did they do? So what happened? A special miracle took place because he was b'meiser nefesh, he was mesiras nefesh, self-sacrifice and determination to save the door. Special miracle came that when they arrived on the dock, the door was there floating on the water. So because of the special miracle that took place, the other doors were replaced with golden ones. This one was not. The copper was there. Everyone should remember the special miracle as well as the dedication of Nikoner. Okay, so all of these people that we just mentioned, all of these were the good guys who, whenever we mentioned them, we say how good they were and we want to remember them for good. And these were not mentioned and remembered well. Shalbeis Garmu, the house of the family of Garmu. The lechem upon to make it correctly required a certain skill, that it shouldn't crumble, it shouldn't fall apart.
It was built like
built like a box with many windows. That's why it's called lechem aponim. The bread of faces. To do this correctly required a certain skill, and they didn't want to tell anybody else. It's our secret. Shalbeis Avtinos. The Avtinos family did not want to teach anybody how to make the Ketores just right. And Hugreis ben Levi, Yedei Perek Bashir, Hugreis, one of the Leviim, he was a Levite. He knew a special technique to play music, and it was very, very beautiful. But he didn't want to share with anybody else. Only he and his family should only keep it as a family secret. Ben Kamtsar, Ben Kamtsar did not, he had a special talent. He was able to write 4 letters with 4 different pens at one shot. Now, this was a style of writing that he had worked out. Now, so what? What does this have to do with anything? When you write Hashem's name, so you want to be focused. The quicker you can do it, the better, the less likely you're going to have machshavas zaros and your mind is going to wander. So, but he didn't want to teach anybody. He wanted to keep all this to himself. All of these people, they knew something that was very valuable to other people and to the public and to the Beis HaMikdash, and yet they wanted to keep all the glory for themselves. Al Rishonim Nemar, says the Mishnah, the first ones who went out of their way to make things more beautiful for everybody and for the Beis HaMikdash and for Hashem, Zecher Tzaddik Lavracha. We remember a tzaddik for a blessing. Whenever we think of a tzaddik, it's for a blessing. Al Elu Nemar, but on the ones who are stingy and self-centered and they want to keep everything to themselves and not share, Hashem Rashem Yirkov, the name of the wicked shall rot. So this is a very, very powerful statement in the Mishnah. If you have something, you have a talent, share it with people. You have a good word that you've discovered, Share it with people. Keeping things to yourself is not a good trait. Please join us not next week. Baruch Hashem, I have good news. I will be Mirz Hashem at my niece's wedding next Wednesday evening in Crown Heights. So we're going to postpone next week. 2 weeks. Please join us again at 8:30 for chapter 4. Tonight you were able to, Baruch Hashem, accomplish 2 chapters. Have a good night.